Okay, so I have the 1-star review from Yelp for Astrology by Austin, and my review was written by Lorraine A.
I'm going to need a spelling.
Lorraine.
Okay. You know, spelling of names can say a lot about the person. So that's why I got to know. All right. Lorraine W.
A.
A. I don't know why. Where is the W? Lorraine A. All right, Lorraine A. Let's hear it.
Okay. I had a numerology reading with Austin this afternoon over the phone. While I very rarely post reviews, I feel compelled to do so in this instance. I immediately felt that Austin was unprepared for my reading, and with the exception of one thing, he was off about 99% of it. The one correct thing he said was that my ex-husband is a resentful narcissist, which wasn't a big leap considering I told him that I was an empath and divorced from him. Other than that, my $90 reading consisted of him telling me to wear the color. Other than that, my $90 reading consisted of him telling me to wear the color yellow, parentheses, which I will never do because I hate that color. Think of 3 things in the morning, such as who my favorite person is in the world, my favorite color, and my favorite song, and to place scrap metal coins on the 4 corners of my bedroom in an attempt to secure better feng shui. Oh, and to walk 10 minutes every morning. I was also told that I have a strong desire to be a leader, which I do not. In fact, I hate leadership roles. I could instantly tell that he didn't do his homework because he couldn't tell me one valid thing about my personality or even speculate about my future, which was told in generalities at best. He did say that 2020 was a very bad year for me, parentheses, which given COVID and the racial unrest in this country is not really insightful. And that 2021 would be better. He also miscalculated the age I was when I got married, as well as the age of my daughter, who he thought was still a minor when she's in her mid-20s. For those who have had good experiences with Austin, I am baffled because mine was a complete waste of money and time. I got absolutely nothing out of it at all. Zero. Now, Lorraine also attaches a photo
Okay.
of a text correspondence with Austin.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
That I think I should read before we do the assessment.
Please.
So it has in the screenshot did not blur out Austin's first and last name nor their phone number, which maybe you would get on Yelp.
Anyway, yeah, good point.
Okay. So on the right side in green, Lorraine has an Android. Right. It says, "Why do I have to call you? You're either going to refund my money or you are not." Austin says, "Not without a phone call. So if you don't want to talk it is so it not without a Austin says, not without a phone call. So if you don't want to talk, it is what it is." Lorraine says, "Why can't you just tell me via text?" Austin says, "Enjoy your day."
Okay.
And that's
all right, and that's Lorraine.
Yeah.
All right, Lorraine. So much here. One question that came to mind as we were going through this is, do we think that there's homework to be done for a psychic?
I was wondering about that. What is like literally, because this was a numerology reading.
Right. Oh.
But like literally my thought about homework for any sort of psych mystical thing is cheating.
Right. Exactly. Like, what do you like? They should have Googled you or but now that I'm remembering that it's a numerology reading, maybe because with numerology, maybe the Lorraine gave her birthday,
early on so that they could make the chart.
Correct. All right. So maybe
is that true though? Because I've never done numerology. Is that something you would give up front?
I would never. Yeah, like sometimes I think so.
Because Lorraine says they were unprepared, which would make me think that there was some preparation expected.
Right. So I think maybe with a numerology reading, I'm not 100% sure, but I think that it's based on the individual numbers that are most significant in your life, like your birthday, etc. Maybe like your anniversary day, like things like that, which I think was touched on at one point, the length of their marriage. So there's just all these numbers, I guess, that are supposed to tell a story about your life. So maybe that's where Lorraine was coming from.
Have you ever had a numerology reading?
No, I have had a psychic reading before, a couple psychic readings before, but I don't believe anything specifically numerology. I don't know. I'm getting like weird vibes from Lorraine,
who is a self-proclaimed empath.
Who's a self-proclaimed empath, but has a little bit of like a narcissistic vibe that she's omitting for some reason. I was trying to figure out, pinpoint exactly what it was, but I
have a question. Do you think that getting any sort of psychic reading makes you a narcissist because it's only about you?
I definitely don't think so, because
after you said I've had several readings.
No, because I want to talk about why I had them. I feel like I have them because I want to become, a better version of myself so that I can contribute more to the world. And I feel like so often we get in our own way with accomplishing really important things in our life, that if we stepped into our bravery, we would then impact so many other people positively. So I think about it as, how can I get the most on track to what it is that I have to contribute to the world? So I don't think it's a narcissistic thing.
And I don't either, because oftentimes people want to communicate with people that have passed.
Or exactly. And use them as, your guides, and be able to hear where they're directing you. So I don't have a problem with that. What was the scrap metal corners of the bed or bedroom? What was that?
Well, that's in order to secure better feng shui, that they should wake up in the mornings and think of three things in the morning, such as who your favorite person in the world is, your favorite color, and your favorite song. And also to place scrap metal coins on the four corners of your bedroom in an attempt to secure better feng shui. I've never heard
metal
that.
Coins?
Yeah.
I've never heard of that.
Me either.
It did make me wonder, like, it almost felt like Austin was trying to make Lorraine sunnier,
Yes.
Like he was like, you should wear yellow, and like you should start your day thinking of your favorite things.
Yes, exactly.
And like you should rearrange things in your room so that they're bringing all like the positive energy into your life. But I think Austin, if I'm reading the reading based on what I'm getting back from Lorraine, I think Austin was trying to give Lorraine some sort of levity in her life and shine. And if you notice, everything that Lorraine says in the review really demonstrates how she's not that person, because it was like, wear yellow. Now, like, listen, if a psychic told me to wear yellow, might it be BS? Very well might be BS, but am I going to maybe try to wear yellow just to see if, like, maybe if I wear yellow, I'll have a good day? Like, I would try it. Like, I've tried a lot crazier things than just wearing a yellow top to see if my life is going to be better. So I think I certainly would try it. And I just felt like throughout the review, it was like Austin would give her a suggestion or like lob something over to Lorraine, and Lorraine would be like, no, like, you should know me better to know that, like, I wouldn't want to even hear that. And
well, that is my question about intentionality, because what is the intention of receiving a numerology reading? Because it sounds to me that Lorraine's review is very much based in an experience that they did not catch Lorraine's authenticity. But what we are catching is that all of the stuff Austin's presenting are things that maybe aren't in line with the authenticity, or they're not what's being presented. It is very much what you're saying. Like, if the intention of this numerology is to find my peace,
right,
it sounds like these are some tangible actions to take for change or difference, transformation, experiences, which is interesting because the whole color of this review is that Austin was a fraud.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's also interesting because I know this is going to sound like a cop out, and I have a little bit psychic, not like fully, but like, I have definitely a heavy intuition. And I think something that I've heard from a lot of psychics that I believe to be true, and I know this even when I'm interacting with people, is there are some people that just cannot be read. Psychics will say, yeah, I know that this is something that sort of happened to you, but this is something that can happen with psychics, where if because it's not exactly crystal clear, everything that's coming through, right? So you have to work with the person, and it's up to you whether you want to internalize what the person is telling you or not. But you're there to receive this information. And if you're just a block, if every single thing that I'm going to say to you, you're coming at me going, that's not true, it's not like that. But sometimes it really is. And I know it sounds like a cop out, but sometimes it really is upon reflection that you're like, oh, like, for example, I had a friend that went to a psychic, and the psychic told her, like, you're going to make a lot of money doing something with brushes. She's like, it's brushes, brushes, brushes. And for years, like, Amber, like, chewed on that. And she was like, brushes? Like, I'm not a painter. Like, what's going to be with brushes? And then she became a makeup artist, and she uses brushes all the time. You know what I mean? So I just think there has to be a level of willingness to be open about the advice and about the information that's being given to you. And if you're just a total like no person, like, nope, not right, he got the age wrong, like, what, like, if you're that kind of a person, you just shouldn't go to a psychic because you're not open.
I think that is right. There is a sense of closed offness impressing me. I would counter, well, I think that I want to share my story as a Patreon exclusive.
Yes.
Because I had something very traumatizing happened to me in this whole world, and it was
and there are nefarious people out there. Like, I'm definitely don't want to negate that, because
I also like just to talk around it, like, I can also see where I was responsible. I think I did have a sense of arm's closedness, but it is what that very first text photo that Chelsey sent me was of, because when I was in LA, I went to a friend's recommended psychic in West Hollywood twice. And I'll tell the story on Patreon, but I don't know if it's something I've fully recovered from still today. And I chose not to choose that vendor for today's episode out of respect. And I also chose to never leave a review because it felt so unbalancing to me. Regardless, I do think there is a middle ground, because I do think that everyone going wants the person to be correct. So there is a sense of waiting for that aha epiphany moment of like, yes, oh my, yes. So when they miscalculate the age that I got married, or the age of my daughter, like, that starts to create a little bit of distance in your belief and trust. But then I also, even the word miscalculated, that once again makes me curious about numerology, because but then you also would expect there wouldn't be like an error. I mean, if I'm going to you as an expert, like, I don't want there to be a little error, I guess,
but I don't really think that that's
that big of a deal.
No, I just don't really think that that's included in the numerology. And I know something that is told to me a lot by psychics, which I do know to be true, or feel is true, that they don't always get time frames exactly right. They just don't. Like, and again, I'm not trying to sound like I'm somebody that's drank the Kool-Aid. I really do believe that. It's like time. We could get a whole conversation about how time is relative and all of these things, and go down the rabbit hole and watch Russian Doll. But like, their time exists in a lot of different ways. And most of the time, the psychics that I will go to will say things like, I have a feeling it's going to be in the next X number of years, like somewhere between this and this. Like, it doesn't tend to be an exact science. So I think with numerology, you're giving them the numbers and then they're using your numbers to break down a reading for you. So it's not as much about picking a number out of thin air as it is about reading the numbers. But I also don't know enough about the specific numerology reading.
Well, as far as like the spelling and grammar from Lorraine, I do find it to be relatively perfect. I think they definitely did do a spell check on this. The truthfulness, I mean, I believe that. Do I think that Lorraine's being shady? I don't know. I mean, I feel like Lorraine is seeking something in life which brought them to Austin, and I think that I do think they're it's interesting. We've pointed out already, Lorraine labels the ex-husband as a resentful narcissist.
Right.
And both of those descriptors seem to be like prevalent in Lorraine in this review.
I know. That was why I was like, oof. Like, is Lorraine one of the people that's calling everybody else a narcissist when she is? I hate to assign that to her because I don't think I know enough about Lorraine to make that kind of a call, but I did clock that too.
So I do think that probably in Lorraine's view, this is a truthful assessment, but I'm starting to like, it doesn't make me think that, it doesn't leave me with an impression of Austin's ability, except for these little errors about like the age and of the daughter and the age when Lorraine was married. Right. But it does sort of make me think that there might have been something going on energetically with Lorraine, which is very interesting because it doesn't have that big of a impact for me for Austin's ability. And I think that there is the humor level for me on this is like the huge resistance to the color yellow.
Sure. Yeah, it's funny.
Is like very funny to me.
It's incidentally funny.
Yes.
Yes.
But I don't, it isn't seeping with humor to me. I don't know. What do you think?
I didn't really find it very funny.
No.
I think the last thing I want to bring up before we crown it is a little bit of the text exchange.
Yeah.
So, okay. Do we feel like it's fair for Lorraine to ask for a discount? Number one. And then do we feel like it's fair for Austin to want to have a phone call?
I think it's fair for Austin to want a phone call, and I don't think it's fair to want a refund. I think it's fair to want the refund. I don't think it's fair to, I mean, it's fair to ask. Of course it's fair to ask. I don't think it's warranted.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the phone call makes sense because if you just allowed anybody to text you and not have to like actually pick up the phone and call you and say, I didn't like the reading you gave me, or give me a chance to correct something that went wrong.
Correct.
If you're just going to text me, give me my money back, I think that's a slippery slope. And I understand why Austin wouldn't want to do that. Like, I think, yeah, let's get Lorraine on the phone and let her tell me how she felt, as opposed to just writing a bad review. Or
it makes me think of like of David as a business owner. It's like, what is the exchange here? Because everyone wants to provide better service. And so if you are requesting money back, what can I do better in the future?
Right.
Like, I think that's a fair exchange to say, you got these two things wrong. And like, I don't even like the color yellow. And I felt like you were leading me in a way that felt inauthentic. And it felt like it was a waste of my money.
Yeah. I mean, and it's interesting because obviously Lorraine has the guts to write a review and put this out there for the world to see, but maybe not the guts to pick up the phone and just give Austin a call. I mean,
we can talk about impact on our crowning.
You're right. Let's talk about impact later. But I
I'm
think we
curious.
have enough information to crown. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess I do too. Yeah.
Okay. I need a second because I can't find my crown cards. And so I'm going to use my travel ones. I just need to grab them.
Okay. And I'll say this little speech while you're doing that.
Okay.
All right. So Chelsey. All right. So Chelsey and I each have our own set of 1 to 5 crown cards, and in an effort to be fair and not influenced by one another, we will simultaneously reveal our rating.
The queens are tabulating.
to put them somewhere before I traveled, and then now I can't put them.
Well, it's good I threw those in there.
Yeah, thank you for throwing these in here because. Wait, okay. Am I doing that? Is that what I want to do? Are we crowning?
Are you ready?
I'm crowning, yeah. Let's do
Okay.
it.
Total score.
Oh, sorry. You can't see it because it's bright
It's green.
The green screen. Okay, that sucks. I'm holding up 2 crowns. Trey is holding up 3 crowns.
Why'd you do 2?
I did 2 because I just don't really trust Lorraine. I'm sorry, Lorraine, but I don't think I trust your assessment of the situation. I don't think it was so unreasonable for Austin to ask for a phone call before getting a refund. I don't think anything so egregious was done, and it seemed like you were very closed off and not willing to even experiment with maybe some of the things that were told to you in this reading. So for that reason, I'm giving you 2 crowns, mostly for spelling, I guess. Spelling was pretty good. And also, your character. I know who you are. I tend to give points for that. So that's it. So 2 crowns for that. And then the rest of them I took off because, you know. How about you, Trey? Why'd you do 3 crowns?
Well, I was between 2.5 and 3, but I ultimately went with 3 because it does ultimately land as middle of the road to me.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't outrageously humorous. I feel like I can't decipher if this is a common experience or a fluke experience.
Right.
But
exactly.
But it does occur to me that the instances where the numerology wasn't an exact correct age guesstimate is sort of like lands with me.
Right.
But overall, the impact is muddied because I don't think that Lorraine was as open to the experience as perhaps would have created some real insight here. And it wouldn't stop me from seeing Austin.
Right.
I think it would actually shape my intentionality for getting a numerology reading, which is why I gave it the extra half crown to make it 3.
Yeah, or maybe questions you would ask up front in terms of like expectations.
Exactly. So
yeah,
that's why I went with 3.
Love it.
Oh my gosh,
Great
Lorraine.
job,
I hope Lorraine gets some better answers in life.
Yeah, I hope you got what you're interested in. Maybe you should wear blue, Lorraine. How does blue feel? Does blue feel good?
I feel like their aura is blue.
Yeah, I'm feeling blue for you, Lorraine.
All right. So let's take a quick break. And when we come back, we're going to hear an entirely different side of the story.
Oh, yes, we are.
Astrology.
Love it. Yeah.
All right. BRB.
Baby,